On it's your boy Dante Miles, aka D Belly, aka your city councilman. I'm here at Fire 716 Radio, and I'm asking you to tune in on Thursdays at 11 on our show The Vault. We're going to be having some conversations that's super relevant but very important, and sometimes it may be a little uncomfortable, but we're going to make sure that we get our voices out. Come tune in on Thursdays at 11 a.m. and make sure you download the Fire 716 app. See you then.
You locked into The Vault with Dante Miles on Fire 716 Radio. Let's go.
What's going on, fam? We're here. I'm just getting everything set up for y'all. As y'all can see, you can come on in a little bit, bro. I want them to see you on the screen. Listen here. We got my man here, Mr. Jeffrey Alexander Rivers. Peace and love, man. And we got the boss that of the Wizard of Oz on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Got Mr. Frank Hanley, Big Frank in the morning. Hey, before we get into business, let's make sure that we go to Fire 716. Listen, all you got to do is go and just, subscribe. You're going to get all this good, all this good info that we're going to have for you. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Marty? So, listen, so we got a lot to talk about, man. I mean, first, before we get started, tell them who you are, Mr. Rivers.
My name is Jeffrey Alexander Rivers. I'm a resident of Niagara Falls. I grew up in Niagara Falls. I went away when I was a little younger, but the last 4 years I've been back in Niagara Falls. Just servant to my community.
That's right.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it, man. Listen, you're doing a lot of great things, brother, and salute, man. Salute to what you've been up to. What you've been doing in the community, man. You got this man has such a positive vibe, man. I love rocking it out with Jay. If I see him and listen, I don't care what event it is. I don't care if we at somebody party or whatever the case is. When you see this dude, he's like a solid dude. He's he cares though. Honestly, he cares about the community, man. So yeah, we here, right? So let's talk about. Hold on, we're gonna let we gonna.
Yes, sir.
But everybody call once you know how it is.
Right.
You can be chilling all day long, waiting for somebody to call. Man, shoot. As soon as you start doing so, I get it.
You're right.
So we got a lot going on. Let's talk about this election season, this campaign season. Now y'all on the line with somebody, and I'm definitely going to be peeping, the comments and stuff right now. We probably gonna do like 40 minutes a day, so I'm. It's not gonna be I haven't bumped up to the hour yet. The full fledged. I'm just, it's a lot of things you got to get squared away. You good, brother?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's a lot of things that we got to get squared away prior to, but I'm definitely gonna be connecting with the comments. So we have this this election cycle that's popping up, and a lot of people asking me, who you endorse, who should I, what should I? So I'm gonna keep it a buck with everybody, and I'm gonna just what's going on, Mr. Trent? I see y'all, Kev. I see y'all. What's popping? I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I've been in City Hall for a full-fledged year as a city councilman. But let me keep it even more of 1,000 with you. I've been in City Hall holding local government officials accountable 5+ years before even running. So when it comes down to that, this is not, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. You know what I'm saying? The whole year of me being on council, let me just keep it 100. I'm just trying to think. it's only a few people that ever reached out to me that's running for city council. That even wanted to have the conversation of what that even looks like.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people see me, fighting. I'm still fighting. Ain't nothing changed. Nothing changed from 2019 when I first ran to 2021 to when I got in the beginning of 2022. Nothing's changed as far as my fight. I'm still the same person. I think the issue that I have, and like my man Mr. Rivers say, take it or leave it. You know what I'm saying? The issue that I have is that whole year I've been in, like I said, one, maybe two people out of the 8 people that's running for city council, 1 or 2 people reached out to me to even like have that kind of discussion. Like, let's be honest, if you're really trying to help me out here in these streets of City Hall, how come that conversation hasn't come up? To the cat that you see on a daily that's out there. And I put this, and I'm gonna put this out here on a very straightforward type of just, I don't really care what anybody think about what I'm about to say. Out of everybody that's running, let me put it this way, out of everybody that's running for any city hall position, whether it's a mayor or city councilman, you put all of them together in one box. I love the kids. Put them all together in one box. There's not one person that's running that has held my colleagues and the people who are governing in City Hall accountable more than me. Like when I say that, like, yo, I'm holding my colleagues. These are the people I got to work with. I'm holding them heavy accountable, right? So my thing has always been is the people in power should never outweigh the power of people. Right. And hold on, I got it, but I gotta reach out to him in a second. That'll be afterwards. And I always say, the people in power should never outweigh the power of people. That means people got to get more engaged. Right.
Right.
So when I'm out here fighting, because it's easier for people to armchair quarterback what I'm doing and can critique and say, well, you should do this, or you should do that, or how come Dante ain't, and how come, and that's another thing when I hear, people going into the critic mode and then I don't see you showing up, all those words fall on deaf ears.
No, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Biggest thing is that, instead of having like so much to say, just show up. Then you can, I tell you what, because Unica, I think Unica's running, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at least what I can say about her is she's consistent. Come on, you see what I'm talking about?
Yes,
brother?
sir.
The very least that I can say about her, at least, is that she's been consistently at city council meetings almost all of last year. Now, I just found out that very, very recent that she's running, but however, at least I could say is that she's there and she knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
She got the information.
Right.
So I always say that you can be an information gatherer, you can be just a physical presence. You've been there.
Right.
You ain't running, but you've been there. You know what I'm saying?
And totally, truthfully, I'm blind to the whole election thing, right? So that's why even with me, right, I reached out to you and I wanted some education on it. So like I said, in my understanding, you reach out to the ones that's been doing it, that has the experience in it. So like I said, just going to learn, right? That should be the first step.
Education.
Just observing, right? Right.
That's a fact.
Right.
That's the big thing about it, is going just to get that information so you can see how the people who are up there,
right? You
see the energy,
right?
You see how it is when it comes down to when we're getting ready to vote on something. You see how it is, how You know, some of my colleagues could care less.
Right.
But what happens is the other people, the other 3,500 people, they don't see that.
Mm-hmm.
So because they're not there to physically see it, then 2023 comes, and then you get all kind of different people running, rerunning.
Listen, I guess when I was like, even with me, right? You know, I see a lot of us or people, individuals running, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess my outlook at it, right? You know, I think that we should have, or my opinion, like we got all these people running. We should like get in a group of all these people running, right?
Mm-hmm.
And pick the best candidate out amongst the group, right?
Facts.
And back that. Because at the end of the day, I still see a little bit of division.
It is a lot of division.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
Right.
Vote splitting is like ridiculous.
Mm.
It's gonna be. See, and the thing about it is this: when you have someone that like when you have if you put your platform out there,
mm-hmm.
that's the only thing that's gonna win. And let me just keep it 100 for you.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
This is 100. I don't care who's out there running for whatever. If you think you're going to win an election in the city of Niagara Falls without knocking doors, you lost the battle. You lost the war before you started your first battle. Let me keep it 100 with you, because guess what? You're talking to somebody who did it twice.
Yeah,
I've learned a lot on my first one, and guess what? And here's the true story: I didn't have a campaign manager. I ain't had no. It was me, Ezra, my mama, and a handful of people that rock with me, and I just made sure that I tried to be everywhere that I could possibly be, all at once. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to go out there. There's no easy way. There's no back door into this joint. Niagara Falls is a different beast. Although we only got about 48,000 people, Niagara Falls is another beast. If you think you're gonna go out here and you're gonna slide into office by not putting in that work, you done lost already.
Right.
Now we have that. So because I don't want to stay stuck on the campaigning portion. I just want to put that out there because it's a lot of people that's running.
And I didn't know. I ain't gonna hold you. How many people were running? I went last night and I thought it was like
for 2 seats.
Yeah.
For 2 seats.
Yeah.
It's so much division. The division, and you're right, bruh. And that goes into so many other conversations we can have with this because of the division, man. There's people who are considered labeled leaders. Mm-hmm. My dad always said some were called, some were sent, and some just went. You know, we got a lot of people who just went.
Valid. No,
you know,
for sure.
And it's like, how is it that we cannot? And we ask that question all the time. It's like, oh yeah, we gotta put the number up there. The number is 716-299
0013.
0013. I keep getting all these other calls too. 0013 716-299-0013. So yeah, you know, you got a lot of people who there we go.
There it is. Oh, my Lord. You want to put your headphones.
Yeah, let me put my headphones on. You got to
So
here we go.
Hey, Carl, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on? It's Nick Young.
Yes, sir.
Just a second. There we go.
Go ahead.
You're on, Nick.
Hey, listen, first off, I just want to say your hats off to you know, Dante and my man Jeff, y'all in there doing the struggle, going through everything with the streets, going through the community, working out. Hold on, I'm about to pull over real quick because we about to talk. I want to talk with y'all. Hold on 1 minute.
Is it on the speaker? Can you hear me?
But listen. You know, I got this fire that was lit up under me a long time ago about dealing with the youth. I started off with my cousin Modi Cox working with the Winning Because I Tried thing.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of things. And I've seen, as I started paying attention and everything, I started to say, well, why can't I do it? Because I got a lot of good ideas. I got a lot of good input. I got a lot of things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I started linking up with you and Ezra when things started, you know, getting into that cycle where okay, I see a lot of stuff going on in the community. I want to see what y'all doing. And I haven't been able to reach out to y'all, but like I said, we started that little group chat with all the leaders because I want to start with the kids.
Right, right.
But it's a lot bigger than just the kids.
Right.
It's everything. You know what I'm saying? So, you had said before, sit down, let's talk, let's communicate. I want to learn. Because if my name going to be on a ballot, if my name going to be on a petition, I want to know what I'm getting into. I want to learn. I want to figure out how I can make this work because I want to service. I want to help the people. I'm not worried about, City Hall. I'm not worried about special interest. I don't need none of that.
Right.
I'm a regular Joe Schmo. I go to work. I pay my taxes. My kids is in this city. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about helping us so that we can push a better future for the Falls.
So here's the thing.
And cut all this red tape and all this extra crap that we got to deal with.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, okay. Here. Okay. I'll do that. So, like you said, man, honestly, it's definitely about, especially you want to be as effective as possible, is what I'm hearing, right? And it does take that education's portion of knowing what it is, what you're getting into, right? Because when I said what you just said, basically, exemplifies who I was when I ran. I'm a regular person that understands regular issues. I ain't been raised in, I haven't been around the campaigning political system. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know all of that. I got pissed off at the lack of services that we were paying for. Right. And I decided to go to City Hall and express my grievances. You know what I'm saying? And when I went, I started reading those agenda items. That's why I tell people it's heavy important to oh crap. Let me see something. I guess give me just okay, there we go. Just gotta make sure that our clientele is on.
Yeah.
So I went and I did that, but when I started checking out these agenda items and I started seeing what they were going to vote on, I was like, hold on, that affects me too. You feel me?
Right.
So what happened is I had to make it a conscious decision to come back. And then the more I started coming back, the more I started paying attention to what these cats that's supposed to be representing us, how they're misrepresenting us.
Right.
But you don't see that until you show up on a consistent level and on a consistent basis. Because what happened with me is I started coming and I started getting a fire. Now watch this. Here's where a lot of our community, and this is what I keep trying to address with our community. Here's where we mess up a lot. We are, and I that's why I had put that on your post today, because I was listening to you real good. You had some good stuff you was talking about this morning. And one of the things is that we become more reactive than proactive, right?
Absolutely.
And what happens is in government. So when you're dealing with government, it's a different beast than dealing with just like outside community. Government, you have to be ahead of the game, and that means when you're showing up, it's not just showing up when the issue hits City Hall. By the time it gets to our desk,
it didn't already happen.
Planning board done already voted on it. The zoning board has already voted on it. It has been already put in and almost halfway commissioned. By the time you find that out, by the time it gets to City Hall and everybody rah-rah and everybody jumping up and ready to go in, the shovel is in the ground. I keep telling people when the shovel is in the ground.
And that's why I remember distinctly when they was going through this zoning thing is when I started coming and I started seeing, and then you started talking about it, and I'm like, yo, why is nobody, why ain't people, the whole city should be out here. I said, I'm thinking to myself, do y'all understand what's about to happen? They about to start moving people about their house, raising the rent. People that got bread. I'm not talking thousands. I'm talking millions of dollars. Is about to start buying up our it's already happening.
Displacement.
It's already happening.
Yo, premature gentrification. I made that really clear. Now watch this. I was coming at the mayor and all council during that time, and I still come at all of them if need be, right? And so my thing is this: it's like when you have to hold local government accountable. See, now I'm about to give you the cheat sheet on the whole campaigning situation. It's a cheat sheet that will help, especially if you're really trying to make that difference. Best way to do it: one, this is a platform that we're on now, but this is not the get in. Facebook is not the get in. Facebook is not a campaign. Facebook, you some people will hear you, but you got to remember Facebook has what we call an algorithm. So only a certain amount of people are going to get, not all 4,000. I got about 4,600 people. I'm almost at that 5,000, whatever. I don't even care about all that. Half of the people aren't even active really anyway. But out of the 4K that I got, they're not all going to hear my message. They're not all going to see my post. It's an algorithm. That's how Facebook make their money. That's why they have you, okay, well, you can pay money to whatever. So let's scratch Facebook. It's 7 points of contact. I'm putting this message out there, for whoever, because if you want to get in, you're going to have to do that work. Watch this. 7 points of contact. So you're looking at you now, right now, you're on one of them. You're speaking on a podcast. You're going to show up at City Hall. You're going to go to the podium. You're going to pick an issue that people are fed up about. And you're going to, because people want to know who's going to stand up for them. That's a big thing. People want to know who's going to fight for me and my quality of life. So you're going to do that. There's radio shows. You're going to go to events. You're going to listen. You're going to, a physical radio show like that you actually go on yourself. You're going to knock doors. They're going to see your palm cards. You might have a yard sign. All of these things that I'm telling you, these are points of contact. Once you hit your 7th point of contact, then your name is somewhat in their head. You know what I'm saying? So, but the biggest thing is actually going out to the people, not just telling them what you're going to do, but find out what it is that they need. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is it's an at-large position. So when we talk about city council and the mayor, this is not district. See, it's not, it's not county legislator. It's not, county legislator, you're for a district, you're for a specific portion of the city. You got to get votes across the board, across this whole city when you're dealing with City Hall as far as city council and mayor. Now, I'm gonna go to a point because I do agree. Good morning, E. I see you. I do agree exactly. I want to put out a proposal and you can kind of sharpen each other on this right here. Remember you were talking about with the young people and getting the trades set up, right?
Yes.
Watch here's what I had mentioned. I've actually mentioned
you killed 3 issues right there.
Watch this.
Right there.
I'm gonna help you out though. I'm gonna add something to it to give it some grease and to give it something that people have to be able to understand how it will actually work out for the city, for that person, and for the morale of our city. So I agree with you. You get these tradesmen who can teach these kids these trades, right? Mm-hmm. We get some of the city-owned property. Yep. We take these kids. We have them roll their sleeves up, get ready to put in some of that sweat equity, right? Mm-hmm. They go in, they fix up. Now start one house at a time. You don't know how. I promise you, this thing can get so huge. Start one house at a time, and you take these say 5 kids, right? And you have 2 or 3 people that are licensed, that are skilled tradesmen that can teach these kids how to fix it. And in carpentry, they fix up this house. Mm-hmm. Once they fix up this house and they get it up to par, right?
Right.
We can sell that house, one, at a very affordable rate to a citizen here that rents, that's interested in buying. So, but not just that. So what happens is now you have these youth that actually just put in some work to fix up a house. we just cleared out one piece of blight, right? We just sold a house to someone in the community, and that would be the portion of it. They have to be a part of the community that lives in the community. Sold the house at an affordable rate, so we're not going at selling properties, overselling. You know what I'm saying? But the last one, this is the big part for me, is the finances that we make from that sale. We use that finances, those finances. So whatever we sold that house for, we take those finances and we take it and we send those 5 kids that actually fixed the house to complete their education in that field.
So sound like a plan to me.
You see what I'm saying? So watch this.
Absolutely.
So when they ride past that house, they can tell their friends, yo, that's the house I fixed up.
Yep, I put the electric in there. No, my man did the roof. Yo, my man over there that I went to school with, he actually put all the drywall in it.
Right.
And guess what? My other man just did all the plumbing, and we did all that. And guess what? And ended up paying for our school.
And it paid. So it's full circle. So this house that I worked on, that I gained the education to just get the bare minimum and put some sweat equity into, I was able to help a family that wanted to buy a house, but also it gave me the knowledge of this, how to do this. And the same house that I worked on actually paid for my education.
Yep. And then the 5 kids that you just helped, you kept them off the street.
Right.
You gave them a way to be able to further their future, and in the future be able to hold their family, and then be able to come back if they wanted to be able to start the process all over again. And like you just said, pay it forward. There's no losing in this.
It's like y'all
there's no losing in this. Even if you, let's just say, even if you take the, go ahead.
No.
I apologize.
No. Jeff asked the question, and Jeff said something. He says it sounds like it's already in the working, because my challenge is the conversation, which is required, which is very important. My question is, who's going to put up that payment for that nonprofit? Who's going to get that business plan, the organization, and make it happen, and not depend on somebody else to do it?
Right.
Somebody got to be that front runner and make it happen. Because talking about it is amazing. No shots for nobody, but we got to put that. Okay, what is it?
Right, we go next.
Valid.
So let's do this, right? Because I problem solve for a living. This is what I do. So your question was, who's going to put up the paper, right? So first off, how much does it cost to do demolition on an entire house? I know for a fact. Because my father-in-law works for the companies that do the demolition for the city. It costs anywhere between, let's say, about $30,000 to $80,000 to destroy a whole house, pack it up, and get it out of the neighborhood. For that amount of money, you can buy all of the supplies, do everything that you need to do, and put that house back where it's supposed to be. And you know how I know that? And not to stump on anybody's feet. I'm talking about what I see. I'm talking about from the houses that I actually went to see, because the people that are putting and buying these houses, a large majority of them are foreigners. Let's say it like that. They're foreigners. We all know who they are. They're foreigners, and they're doing it for a lot less than what it is to demolize the house.
Nick, I hear you, and that's important, but watch this. I'm talking about before we even got to that point. Which 501c3 is going to do the due diligence? We're getting the stuff together, getting the people in place, applying for the grants to get the money. Like, where is this plan of action outside of conversation? Not just for you.
So I know right now, Mount Sinai Baptist Church did this back in the 2000s, early 2000s. The house that's directly next door to Mount Sinai, they fixed that house up. They rented it out to one of the people that were in the church. So the churches have the ability to do this stuff. They can already do this. So if we were to get,
the only thing is that, and I get what you're saying. The difference is because it's right next door to them. they have like complete access to buy it only because it's adjacent to their property. Like for instance, a house next to me, it's jacked up. I want it tore down, so I'm not trying to buy the house. I don't want a rental property. I don't need none of that. But I have the option to buy it if I wanted to. And so with that, if it's like those type of positions, they're able to get it. So I guess what we're saying here is that we're talking about city-owned houses. Mm-hmm. So these are not houses that are like so what happens is you're gonna need an organization that's willing to put in that work to basically have structure what we're talking about today. Exactly. Because what we're talking about is great. And I do believe that it would be very effective. Absolutely. I think the thing is that we have to find out who's going to be willing to, and that's another thing. It's time to put these so. Call it. These so-called leaders. Call it. No. I'm saying? Call it. These so-called leaders. We got to call a spade. All of these so-called leaders and all of these people that's holding this position and that's kind of holding our city hostage or holding our youth's future hostage. At the end of the day, it's time to put pressure. Y'all gonna get pressure placed on you. I'm in a different place in my life right now where I got plenty of space to put more pressure on. Y'all thought I was something last year. Keep living, right? Here's the thing about it. A lot of people who've been considered leadership in the city of Niagara Falls, especially and here's the part that we also agree with as well. It is not about black and white. Yeah. It is the have and the have-nots. It's the people who got and the people who don't. And there's a level of neglect that has been taking place in the city of Niagara Falls for some decades. Yeah. For decades. But here's the other issue. It's people who are in position of leadership that won't stand up and fight. It's people who've been called, in this community, who's the leader? Or is this person or that person? They name him a lot of people, but when it came down to the heart of the issues that we go through, these people are absent. Yeah. Or they're only there when there's a camera, a photo. Right. You feel me?
So like I said, we got to let's call a spade a spade. Yeah. It is what it is. So we need to identify those people. We need to put pressure on these people, meaning that the community needs to start calling these people back and forth, showing up at the office. Let's go to the person's house. Let's picket it out front of the person's house. You on a public street. You ain't gonna get in trouble. Right. We out here protesting. Ain't nothing. We ain't being peaceful. We ain't doing nothing. Let's put pressure on the person. Yeah. Inundate the office with communication, with phone calls, with letters, with emails, with all of this, to the point to where you ain't got no option but to address this issue. You ain't got no option than to be present and available for this issue. Because your people, the people that put you in office, now want an answer. We want an answer. We want action.
I say
we want action.
Squeak. You better squeak where the oil is available. People get that mixed up so bad. The squeaky wheel does not always get the oil. If you're not squeaking, your oil is available. If I'm telling you the oil, the answers, the decisions are being made in this building, why aren't you squeaking in this building? There is no no one is like, let me put it this way. Everyone is available. Everyone is allowed to show up at City Hall. Yeah. There's not there. It doesn't matter. You can bring anyone into City Hall. We have so many gripes in our city, so many complaints and complainers, but we don't have the people. There's no reason why City Hall shouldn't be filled up every other Wednesday.
Listen, if we came and everybody just spoke just for the good of the people,
just for the good of the community,
they'll get tired of we got to do something. We'll sign up every time.
Listen, every single time, and you feel that.
So let me ask the question. Let me ask the question, because maybe I'm ignorant on this topic.
You're good.
If we're having a city council meeting, right, and we have everybody that shows up. Let's just say we pack it with 300, 400, 500 people. Okay. y'all voting on the issue. They're voting on the issue. They're hearing us. At what point, it's still going to be up to that person, up to the city council person, to make that vote on whether or not they want to move forward on that particular agenda item. Correct?
Okay, so let me. You're right, but here's the issue, and here's what takes place. It's the prior to that matters, because by the time that vote is up, there has been a public hearing, there has been a planning board meeting, there has been a zoning board meeting, there has been a whole handful of meetings prior to that led up to that last vote. If you weren't in a part of that prior to, right, and you didn't show up during that prior to, and didn't put your voice out there in the beginning when the genesis of the situation took place, then by the time it gets to that vote, your voice is minimalized down to about 5-10%. That's why I say it has to be a culture. It has to be a culture of our people showing up even when it's boring and even when it seems like there's nothing really going on. That's when we need to be there on a regular, because you know what happens? And it happens with a lot. Every portion of the community, black, white, got money, don't got money. It happens to every portion that they normally show up when it hits their front doorstep. So when them rats made their way down to LaSalle, who came out? The LaSallians.
Yeah.
You feel me? You know, when potholes or when something happened or when something was about to get built somewhere else, they'll show up. When it came down to STRs and the ordinance, the STR cats showed up on a regular. I don't see a lot of them too now, and I'm gonna call that out too. All the people who was out killing on STRs, and I was rocking with you because I understood that zoning was going to basically, it was going to premature gentrify our city. You know what I'm saying? Gentrification. It was going to do that, and it was going to displace a lot of people. I already knew it. I knew that either people's lease wasn't going to be renewed when it was up, and I knew that people were going to get priced out of their homes. Their rent was going to go up 3 times because guess what? Now this one area of the city has a monopoly on short-term rentals. So now everybody who in this area, man, we taking it away from everybody else. I'm turning my little joint into, so you paying that little $500 a month? No, man, I'm not renewing the lease. Okay, it's $1,500 now. Can you afford it? Okay, well, you got 30 days. You got to go. I knew that was going to happen. I spoke on it, and I spoke hard at where? Not on Facebook, not outside, not at my house, not at a church, not at somebody else's meeting, but at City Hall. But what happens is this. In the last administration, because I was giving this work way before Steiner. The last administration, the guy said, and I mentioned it here too. He said, "Man, listen, I love to hear you speak. You're fact driven. You bring, you make sense. Thing is that the people that you're fighting for don't show up here. So where these decisions are being made, they feel like, oh, he's the only one. Him, maybe 2 other people. They're here, but that's not enough for me to change my mind. So whatever, it's gonna be the same 35 people."
Okay, so they're making decisions based. I mean, of course, when people come up and they voice their opinion, so their opinion, and because I'm ignorant on this, even if the council person kind of already knows how they're going to vote, if they get the turnout to kind of sway their vote and like kind of give them a second outlook on the topic, that could sway the vote.
It can. Unfortunately, with what I deal with on the norm, my whole first year, if you check out the vote tally, for the most part, for the things that really, affected a lot of the marginalized community, you seen the vote tally, it was 4-1 almost the whole year. That's because I fought, but there was no numbers behind it. There was not enough show up. And so it was like, and even if it was a handful more people than normal, when you have people who are kind of bought, when you have people who are bookends, when you got yes men, yes women, when you have people who are rubber stamps to a mayor and an administration, when you have those type of people that I have to sit next to, then it's tough for one person and maybe 1 or 2 other people in the process. It's tough for them to roar loud enough to sway the vote of the people that's next to them.
Would it be affected, like you saying, coming to the meeting, but would it be affected, for instance, like emailing these certain individuals and
still do that because it's a paper trail. It's a paper trail. You want to make sure that you have a paper trail. So when they run again, because you got people that's going to run again, you'll be able to say, hold on, sir, print this out. Hey, you see this? You remember I sent this to you a couple of years ago and I asked you about this? I asked you about the blight in our portion of the city. I asked you about a community center. I asked you about your support for this, and you never either responded back.
And when you show up, you can tell, because you say your piece. So 20 of us give our piece as a part of the city, and that person still wants to play to the puppeteers function. Now you can have a record of, I see how you function.
Right.
That you don't really care about us anyway. Therefore, I know next term it ain't
you out. You out. And that's what I said. A lot of us vote, and when I say a lot of us, I'm talking about the community. A lot of us vote out of ignorance, right? When I say vote out of ignorance, because of that, when you're not there on a regular and you don't see how people are functioning in their position, then you campaign season comes and you don't know who you're really voting for.
Right.
You don't know what we start looking at names from name recognition. I tell people all track records matter. If you don't know what's going on, you haven't been there, you don't see the people, you don't see their response. I'm so sorry. I had my guy here.
Listen, I'm learning a lot, but it's funny to me because basically you said people just voting because that person look good.
They look good. I know their cousin. Their last name, and I recognize them, or so on and so forth. Right. And then it's like, but what happens is you say, what have you done, or what have you stood up for? I've reached out. No, watch this. People that actually reached out to me, I've talked to them, and I told them, find an issue or a subject matter that that the constituents and that our people care about, the things that are bothering the citizens. Find out what that is and watch this. Go to that podium, pound it, stand up for something, because that's what they want to know. What are you willing to stand up for in public? What are you willing to stand up for when it kind of goes against the grain? That's what they're looking for. They're looking for it like, okay, I like your platform. I like what you're saying. I like the ideas, but what have you watch this, and here's the big part. That's why I say come to City Hall, because here's the big question. What have you stood up for on record? That's being recorded government wise. You feel what I'm saying? Because then that's what matters, because then they'll always be able to go back and play the record. I got mad tape. That's old school. I got plenty of record of me standing up for the community before I ever thought about running for City Hall. You feel what I'm saying? So I think the thing is this cheat code, bro. This is the cheat code. Come and find that thing that the city, that the people in the city, we got crime, but you can't talk about crime without talking about poverty. It goes hand in hand. We got crime, we got the lack of livable wage jobs. You feel what I'm saying? So the livable wage, and I'm not talking about, hey, you can say, $15 an hour at Burger King, but the true story is that once they get hired there, they're only giving you 20 hours a week anyway. So you can't, so it's a lot of things that, we can say when it comes down to, but the thing is that when you take an issue and find out what that issue is, that the heaviest concern of the people, and be willing to stand flat foot, all 10 toes to the ground, and stand up and fight for that in front of everybody, in front of the adversaries, in front of all of the people that are making these decisions, and be able to stand and say, you know what, I could care less of what y'all think about me. I'm going to say exactly what needs to be said. And now, that means we got the theme music on, so that... I feel like I'm at the Golden Globes. That means that our time is up. I'm gonna stick around just for a couple minutes afterwards, but Fire 716, listen, thank y'all for showing up. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all come back again. And listen.
Much love.
Go to the Fire 716 app. Download that joint. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all pay and care and hold on. Oh, is that another one?
Fire 716. Oh, he's Nick. All right, we good, Nick.
Oh, okay.
All right, life, brother.
All right, so what's gonna happen is this. Come back, share this. I always say share this for those of y'all who watching on here too. Share this because the people who you share it with, they're gonna hear the same message because I want them to really pay attention and just think about what it is that we're going through. You know what I'm saying? So listen, are you willing to come back next week? I know we kind of sucked it up this week.
Come back anytime you have me.
Yo, my man Jay Rivers, Jeffrey Alexander Rivers, the Jeffrey Alexander Rivers. I thank you, man. I appreciate you for coming through, man. So we chop it up right after we done with this. Yes, Fire 716, man. Y'all make sure y'all come back and check us out. All right, peace. So yo, listen, we hear y'all. Listen.
Here at
this is real.
We'd like to remind our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on our radio station are not necessarily those of the station itself, its employees, or its affiliates. We do not endorse any product or service discussed on our station. Furthermore, any advice, suggestions, or other information discussed on our station should not be considered professional advice and should not be followed without consulting a qualified professional. Thank you for listening and have a great day. Here at Fire 716 Radio, we'd like to remind our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on our radio station are not necessarily those of the station itself, its employees, or its affiliates. We do not endorse any product or service discussed on our station. Furthermore, any advice, suggestions, or other information discussed on our station should not be considered professional advice and should not be followed without consulting a qualified professional. Thank you for listening and have a great day.
Are you ready to launch your business, but you don't know where to begin? Join the Iberio Business Center online program, which serves the Finger Lakes in Rochester, New York. The business course is offered in both English and in Spanish. Take advantage of the different speakers and their expertise throughout this course. The online program includes a pitch competition, which will assist you with funding for your business. For more information, visit Iberio.org or call 716-418-4782.